Trevor, good to see you. Thanks for taking the time. Just a general question to start. How's the off season been for you since we've last talked?
Yeah, good to see you, Taylor. Everything's good. Just raising these kids, working out, getting ready for the season, learning a new offense again, and it's been a lot of fun, a lot of growth, a lot of things that every year I always think like, I think I'm ready to be a coach now, and then I go through an off season and I learn more than I ever thought I could in an off season. Going into whatever year this is for me, and so this year's been really enlightening, and I've just been getting really excited now that camp is kind of right around the corner. We're kind of right for that 1 month mark before I head up. And so it's really getting real now because like once you start counting down the days and you're under, a month before you leave, it's kind of like, we're here we go.
In terms of the knee, I know you were close at the end of the season, so several months since we've talked. Is it still a focus in terms of strengthening it? Will you be 100% at camp, or are you still working through that strengthening this offseason in your knee?
Yeah, people have been asking me about the knee, and I don't remember the knee injury from last year. So no, I'm playing. It's been one of those things where I'm down. I'm just doing maintenance now. It's just maintenance work, and I could have been. I think I could have played in a game. Probably maybe the West Final, but I would have been about 70%. I don't know if I could have helped the team. But right around Christmas time, which is right around the 5-month mark, I was comfortable playing a game and being able to do everything I needed to do, movement-wise, strength-wise, quickness-wise, being comfortable taking hits, those sorts of things. So right around that 5-month mark was that time. But I was really pleased with that because that gave me an entire offseason of being able to work on things that I wanted to work on, strengthen my strengths, and kind of just hit an offseason full speed as opposed to, thinking about the injury up until the 8-month mark, which is kind of the time frame they gave me, was 8 to 10 months is what they thought it would be, which is right around right now. So I'm really thankful that it was that quick, and a lot of it has to do with Greg Mayer, the training staff there, and as well as the ARP training protocol. I've been working with the doctors at ARP, and the ARP trainer, his name is Jake Cousins, become a really close friend of mine, 5-6 days a week working with him. Has just been an absolute game changer for me.
We'll go to Brendan McGuire.
I know you've said when you came to Regina that you'd like to play well into your 40s, kind of like the Tom Brady way, but things change, and you had a pretty serious injury last year. Is that still the same? Has that changed at all since what's happened in the last 12 months?
First off, I got to say that is a great looking clean shave you got there. It's looking nice. But yes, it's kind of one of those things where I would say a few years back, I think I can play into my 40s, if I wanted to. But I think it just comes like 1 year at a time sort of a thing where, you kind of assess, is this the best thing for my family? My wife, my kids, and following Jesus are the most important things that I do in my life. And I want to make sure that I'm putting that at the forefront. Everybody always says, you keep your priorities in line. And I would just want to really make sure that I do that and I practice what I preach, because I know my boys are watching me. And if I get my priorities out of line, I want to make sure that I'm doing that first and putting my family first. But I think that that's still an attainable goal. But it's one of those things where I'm just going to be 1 year at a time. Listen to my body, listen to my mind, listen to my family, and kind of just go from there. But yeah, I think that serious injuries can change things, because there's been times, early in this offseason where I was like, I don't know if I can do it. And, right around that Christmas time is when I was like, okay, I think we can do this.
Has there been any discussion with the Riders about an extension beyond this season?
No. Nope, just kind of just one year at a time sort of a thing. And those things all play itself out. And ultimately, like I always tell people, they're working on extensions. We all sign 1 year contracts. Unless you sign one of those 3 years with, the last year half guaranteed or whatever, they're all 1 year contracts. And if you outplay your contract, then you're going to be making less than what you're worth. If you underplay your contract, you're probably going to get released. And so ultimately, a team's going to make a decision on a guy each and every offseason. And so that thing will take care of itself. If we get to the middle of the season and we think it's best for both sides to do an extension, that way we don't have to worry about going into a mess in the offseason, maybe we visit that. But it's not something that's on my radar, and I don't think it's anything on their radar currently.
Thanks, Brendan. I've got someone with mic issues here, so they just typed a Trevor, they just typed a question into the chat, so I'll just read that out here. Trevor, are you happy with what you've been seeing from the organization and the moves made so far during the off season?
Really disgruntled. It's been really, really tough for me to see AJ Olette leave Toronto, who's maybe the most physical, amazing back. It's been really difficult to see Jamarcus Hardrick, offensive lineman of the year, come and be protecting us. Such great pass rushers and DBs that we've signed. Some rookies that we're really looking forward to. See, I'm really disgruntled now playing. I think they've done a tremendous job, and I think they've stepped up and made a stance to say that this is we're going all in this year. This is the year that we're going to really do this thing. We've hired Cory Maas. We brought in an excellent offensive coordinator who's been wildly impressive to me in meetings with Coach Mueller. Him and I have worked pretty well together thus far, and it's been really fun getting to know him, learning his humility, how well he listens, but how intelligent he is as well. I think he's a hyper intelligent guy, and I'm really excited for this season. And I think the organization with Jo and Kyle Carson have done a tremendous job in terms of getting this team prepared and getting all the pieces together. And it's kind of funny. I think that, you think about the pieces that the Riders have added this offseason. And I really have been thinking about it. It's like, I think we're technically adding myself as well. And so I'm excited to kind of see how all these pieces kind of fit together. And I think they've done a good job doing their homework and making sure we're bringing in the right kind of guys as well as the talented guys.
Your impression of Cory Maas been since he was hired late last year?
He's been great. It was weird. I was downstairs watching my son play Madden, and I get a FaceTime from a random number. If I usually get random numbers, I think we all kind of the same way. We kind of just let it go to voicemail, a random number that we don't have, but it was a FaceTime. And I said, this could be probably one of about one people. And I'm pretty sure it's Coach Maas, but we'll see what happens here. And so I answered it, and it was Coach Maas. And just his energy, vision, and just his acumen for football and what we're going through and what was needed to be done to fix, the issues that I feel like we've had last year in Saskatchewan. You could just feel him, trying to get a finger and a pulse on that. And I think that he's done a tremendous job making sure that he's doing the right things for this club, as well as, what he really believes that we need to do. And he's had great conversations with leaders amongst the team. And so he's been awesome. And, it's funny because I talked to Kyle Carson through the process, and he said, if Cory Maas is the guy, you're going to be really impressed with this guy, Trevor. I'm just telling you, he's a dude. And Kyle Carson couldn't have been more correct. And the first time I talked to him, I was ready to rock as soon as he had talked to me, and it was right around the time where my knee was starting to get better, and I was just like, I really got to get this thing right. I want to get there and get this season rocking.
Does this feel like a completely brand new team? And sort of, once we get to training camp, I imagine you'll have the identity questions and what this team is all about. But does this feel like a brand new team, a fresh start this year?
It feels like a fresh start. It doesn't feel like a brand new team, but when you change leadership, a lot of things change. In terms of your team values, your team mantra, the way that you go about things, the way you practice. The intensity of each and every practice is kind of different. The way you approach the week is different, and so I think there's a breath of fresh air. Not to say that Coach Dickey wasn't a good coach in himself, but there just seems like there's a new feeling amongst the organization. And so I think it's really excited myself. It's really excited the guys that I've been talking to, and I think the fans can really get excited about a team this year and really get behind them, because, like I said in December, this is a situation where we've had a rough couple seasons here. I was here for one of them. Part of, I guess, I played in the first 5 games, but seeing that it was really painful for me for the fans because of how amazing our fans are. I want them to wear Roughrider gear and be stinking proud of it. No matter what province they're in, I want them to be able to wear that Roughrider green and white and be able to walk around town and know that that their team is out there doing things on the field. And so I took it very personal last year, what has happened, and it's just been a kind of a personal mindset this offseason in terms of not going to let that happen again.
We'll go back to Rob now that it seems like he's visually and audio there.
Well, I'm almost 60, so don't count on anything. Hi, Trev.
How you doing, Rob?
Good, thanks. Would you mind elaborating on why the fan aspect of it is so important to you, please?
It's never been my main motivation for the fans. My main motivation is to play for Christ. It's always been, making sure that I'm really trying to do that. And really my teammates are the ones that when my alarm clock goes off in the morning, that's why I don't snooze. I get up thinking about them. I want to put in the work. I'm ready to, go to war with them per se. But just seeing what the fan base has gone through in these last few years, and they're part of our family. I mean, we're a community-owned team, so we're owned by the fans. We're owned by the community. And if you've got unhappy ownership, that's not a good thing. I want them to be stinking proud of their team. I want them to be happy with the product on the field as well as the product off of the field, the way that we treat our fans. I think we do a tremendous job in the community. But us getting those things done on the field, getting the results for them on the field is about focusing on the process. And so for me, it's about just staying in the process, being engulfed in the process of what we're trying to do, just hammering our values, pounding the stone every day to make sure that we're putting in those deposits every day so that they do pay off. And if we can do that, then I think the results will speak for themselves. But I want the fans to be proud of their team, the way that we're performing on the field, not just what we do in the community. And I think that they can go hand in hand, but also, we got to make sure that we're doing the right things each and every day to put in those deposits.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Trevor.
Andrew?
Hey, good morning, Trevor. The off season, it often isn't a time of glamour. The lights aren't on per se. Do you have any advice for really young athletes going into off season? When they might be in high school, university, that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question, Andrew. And I think that it's basically one of those things, like you'd said, there's no lights on, but that's where the champions are made. That's where the people become who they are. Is the work is done in private. It's just like when you go study for a test, the reason you can do well on the test is the work you put in before. Being diligent about what you're kind of doing from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. And to me, if I want to perform well, I've got to sleep well. That means I've got to hydrate well. I've got to eat well. I've got to work out smart as well as hard. I've got to be able to make sure that I'm studying my playbook. And so do the work in the dark so that you can shine while in your light would be what I would tell those young kids. Because a lot of people just think about the games. They see the highlights. They watch games on TV. They don't see the work that Kobe Bryant put in off the floor. They just see, the product on the field. And so to me, it's about what you do off the field before the lights are on that is going to show what you do on the field.
And kind of along those lines, like what's your daily routine looking like in terms of training? What are you really focusing on right now?
Daily routine's been it's fluid. The offseason kind of depends on what phase I'm in. The phase I'm in right now is I'm doing 2 workouts a day for 3 days a week, and then 3 days a week I do 1 workout a day. But I came off the phase that was the most brutal one, was 6 days a week, 2 workouts a day, and Sundays off. I get up at 6 in the morning. My warm up starts at 6:45, and that's when I'm doing my work with the people at ARP from 7 o'clock. My warm up 6:45 to 7. Then I work out from 7 to 8:15, and then I usually go up and eat a little bit of breakfast. I go to the gym and get my other workout in by 9:30 or 10, and usually done with that by about 11:30 or 12. And then I'm doing my brain training, whether that be working with my mental performance coach, Dr. Chantal Lessier out of Ottawa, who I started working with in Ottawa, or I'm studying my playbook, watching film, doing some brain training games, just this little brain book that Dr. Lessier and I kind of do together, and doing those sorts of things until about 2 or 3 o'clock. And then when I'm done with that, I'm dad for the rest of the day. And except for like Tuesdays, that's when I go throw at a facility and work with a couple kids. And then Wednesdays, I've been throwing in the evenings as well. Been trying to throw 4 or 5 times a week, really ramp up the volume there. But the workout schedule, aside from throwing, that's roughly what the workout schedule is. Every offseason, we go through why do you play? Why am I still playing? And I think a lot of those times there's a curiosity to find a ceiling. And I think, have you guys ever seen Ted Lasso? He one of the famous scenes he has is, be curious, not judgmental, and, stop judging yourself, and be curious part is really the part that I'm kind of speaking about, is curious to see what the ceiling is, curious to see how high you can take this thing, curious to see, what you can do with the talents and abilities you've been given. But a lot of my main motivation is obviously my faith, but also my teammates. I think about Mitch Picton, a Saskatchewan kid growing up. I think about, even Coach Mueller, a Saskatchewan kid growing up. Everybody knows his grandfather. You think about Logan Furland, Peter Godber. I think about all of my teammates that I've really adored. Phil Blake coming back. AJ Olette coming over. I want to see these guys lift the Grey Cup. And I see, the greatness in a lot of my teammates with Sam Emilus, who I think is, as you guys saw last year, just took the first step in a, Hall of Fame career. Sean Bain Jr. wanting to come back and be a part of Saskatchewan and play with me again. I want to make sure that they have their best seasons, and I want to see these guys lift the Grey Cup. And so, to me, if you have a superficial motivation, it's going to burn out pretty quickly. And so, to me, the slow burning candle to me is the love of my teammates, my faith, and then the curiosity to see how high I can raise the ceiling with the talents and abilities that God's given me.
What was your reaction to the coaching change, and how do you think things will be different this year, particularly on offense?
Yeah, as the season winded down, we started hearing rumblings, obviously, from the media and the questions. People wondering what was going to happen. And when it happened, I knew it would be one of a few guys. There was a few guys that I thought would be possibilities, and it was fun to just kind of sit back and see the process play out. And you never know what to expect from a new coach. And so when Cory Maas got announced, maybe it was before, I can't remember. He FaceTimed me pretty early in the process. It was before his news conference, and we chatted for a while. And I remember hanging up the phone, and I went and told my wife, I said, we got the right guy. And I'm excited for this guy and for him to have the opportunity. And mind you, this guy's 6 months older than me. And so it's kind of like a wild thing, just feeling like, seeing that, and my offensive coordinator being younger than me. So I know I'm kind of, getting toward the time where it's getting kind of like that. But I'm so super excited for Coach Maas. And there was a great reaction amongst the guys, and everybody that's talked to him, they're like, Trev, what you said to me, I can see that in this guy, man. So I think we have a lot of excited guys in the locker room for him.
Right. And the offense, you talked about it changing. Obviously, you have to study again. How is it different than last year's offense?
Last year's offense was very different, very, very one-word coach-centric. And this is the only offense I think that is kind of amongst the CFL that I haven't played in. And so getting a chance to play in this offense, to see, the years that Bo Levi was with Coach Dickey in Calgary, Coach Dave, obviously Dickinson, and, seeing the success that he had, I always wondered, like, okay, how do they kind of do things? How are they orienting things? What are they kind of getting at? And so seeing the offense and the things that we're trying to do to defenses has just been really, really cool to see, and be able to connect the dots, watching the film from last year with Jake, watching Jake Mayer, watching him play. And, I can see why they've had a lot of success. This offense really is fun. It's a fun one to execute, and it makes a lot of sense. And it's been a lot of fun to talk to Coach Mueller about the things that I've done well, that I've really enjoyed in the past. And he's been wanting to implement those things. He's been hungry to implement the things that I really feel strongly about having in the offense. And so it's been a great time, working with him and learning from him.